Shalom, this is January 31st, and we're in day 483 of the war in Israel. And the newspapers today, all over the newspapers, all over Israel, is the big emotional event yesterday of the release of the 3 Israeli hostages and 5 hostages from Thailand that were kidnapped as well. We see Shuv Beyachad, together again. Machar ha'peima haba'ah, tomorrow is the next release. Let's look together at this page. Here's Agam Berger seeing her friends who are all surveillance soldiers that were kidnapped together. They stay together, and Agam Berger was the last one to be released out of the 5. The other 4 were released just 5 days ago. And here we see Arbel Yahud with her family. This is in the helicopter on the way to the hospital. And here we see Gadi Moses and his family, and he says, I'll do everything I can to rehabilitate Nir Oz. That's where he's from. And here are the 5 Thai foreign workers in Israel that were kidnapped as well. Pongsak, Watachara, Banawat, Saten, and Sulasak. It reads that Arbel Yahud was kept alone for 482 days, and she did not hear about the disaster that happened in her home village, Nir Oz. Gadi Moses says that he saw his family on the Gaza television. And Agam Berger, she kept Sabbath, and she even she did not eat any yeast in Passover, as the Jewish people are supposed to do during Passover. Tomorrow in the next release, 3 other men will be released. They don't know the names here, but we know now the names. It's going to be Keith Siegel, Yarden Bibas, and Calderon. 3 of them will be released. Let's turn the page. Gvar lo levad, not alone anymore. Levad means alone. Mechakim lekulam babayit, waiting for everyone at home. Levada bein mechablim, she's alone between the terrorists. Agam Berger, 20 years old, stayed alone in captivity after the 4 of her surveillance soldier friends were released on the last Saturday. She had to go through all this process of release on her own between a mob of gun-manned and masked terrorists, it says here. And in a very brave act, she waves and smiles when she's standing there in the ceremony. Here, bizro'otehem, in their arms, Arbel Yahud, 29 years old. Her way for release, for freedom, was not simple. Looking at this on TV was not easy. Hi huvela beyedei hamechablim. She was walked with the hands of the terrorists in a mob of furious Gazan people, and a lot of them had guns and they were armed. She finally met her parents and her brother and her sister-in-law. Arbel shelanu huchzera. Her family says our Arbel is back. Berosh Muram, with the head lifted high. This is Gadi Moses, who will soon turn 81 years old. In Israel, they were concerned for his condition, his health. But yesterday, his strength was shown. Kochotav adirim, great strength of his. After 482 days in captivity, he was walking on his feet, standing strong, walking through the Gaza mob. And we see here such a terrifying moments, walking through such violent, a furious mob. When he had last met some IDF female soldiers when he was released, we realized that he did not know anything of what happened. He asked, how is his wife, Efrat Katz, and his daughter, Moran? Then he found out for the first time that his wife, Efrat, was killed on October 7th on the way to captivity. In the picture down here, we see Agam Berger with her parents in the helicopter, and her message written on the whiteboard is this: B'derech emunah bacharti, and in the path of faith I've chosen. U'v'derech emunah shavti, and in the path of faith I've returned. Thank you, all of the nation of Israel and all of the heroes, the IDF soldiers. There's no one else like you in the world. As these 2 pages are full of headlines and photos, here we go with a few more sub-headlines. Beregashot me'orvim, with mixed emotions. Okvot b'da'aga, following the news with a lot of concern and worry. I mean, the release took so long, nerve-wracking. Hagiborot shuv beyachad, the heroes are again together, speaking about the 5 surveillance girls receiving Agam, the last one. Abba babayit, this is about Gadi being together at home. Abba babayit means father at home. Back at home. Chibuk betoch hachoshech, a hug, an embrace in the darkness. And this is Gadi and Arbel just before their release. So this is the first time Arbel saw an Israeli after 482 days in captivity. It's the first time just before the release. Can't even imagine. The next is the opinion, and this is not the only one, about you can say the pathway of horror, because the release took so long, so chaotic, so messy, so dangerous, and it wasn't easy to watch it, it wasn't easy to report on it, and it definitely wasn't easy to go through it. It's just a nightmare. It reads, the eyes were barely able to follow Arbel Yahud marching in fear in the jungle of people in Khan Yunis. This event, at least, this experience was supposed to be spared from those who were forgotten, they're saying here, those who were in captivity. As a result, Netanyahu instructed to withhold the release of the Palestinians that were going to be released. He told the buses, full of them, to turn back, and they withheld the release in a few hours, just to show his unacceptance of this. Mechakim lekulam babayit, more, waiting for everyone at home. And the IDF spokesperson says the footage from Gaza during the release were life-threatening for the hostages. Rig'ei hapachad, moments of fright before the release. Again, b'machazeh me'orer eima, in a show that was horrific, the hostages Gadi Moses and Arbel Yahud were passed on to the Red Cross when they are surrounded by a mob of masked gunmen and a furious Gaza crowd, it says here. They're reading Hamas, here we see the mob. And for many hours it was like this. It was very long, and the walk of the hostage was very long. Everything was very lengthy, nerve-wracking. Again, the spokesperson continues and says Hamas is responsible for this, and as we've clarified before, we will not allow any life-threatening events for the hostages that will be released. We're committed completely to this agreement, and we will make sure it will be fulfilled. We will not allow Hamas to break the agreement. So the agreement was broken when the hostages were walking through a life-threatening experience as they were being released. Mechakim lekulam babayit, again, waiting for everybody at home, and realize that everybody is repeating itself. Kulam, all of the hostages. That's the hope. Chameshet Ezrachei Thailand, 5 Thai citizens got situated in the hospital, and their bnei mishpacha, their family members, broke out in tears. Here we see them with smiles, happy, relieved to be freed with the Thai flag. And here are their family members. The hospital says the fact that they are okay physically does not mean they did not go through hell there. Now, Pinta Natapog is the last Thai citizen still alive in Shevi, in the captivity. There are 2 more bodies of Thai citizens in captivity still held in Gaza, Sontia and Sontisak, still held in Gaza. Hagiborim shelo yashuvu, the heroes that will not return. So together with the overwhelming feelings yesterday, an emotional day and excitement, yesterday in Jenin, which is a refugee camp in Judea and Samaria, Liam Chezi was killed. He was a combat soldier. He was killed in an operation in Jenin, 20 years old. Next to him, 5 more were injured, and one of them is in a very critical condition. It seems like the terrorists ambushed them for a force that was entering a building. His sister tells about him that he was a unique kid and very, you can say, with values, with many values. May his memory be blessed. Next headline, Daka acharei daka, minute after minute. Hakrav al Nachal Oz, the battle over Nachal Oz. And this specifically refers to the investigation on how was a IDF military post captured by Hamas soldiers. You can read it, you can say it. It's almost complete. But now that the 5 surveillance soldiers from this military post are released, they will be asked questions, and it will complete the investigation. And the results are supposed to be released to the public next month. Israel b'milchama, Israel's at war. After the release of the surveillance soldiers, תחקיר כיבוש מוצב צה"ל יושלם. The investigation will be complete. I read here that within 2 hours, less than 2 hours, 6:45, the Nukhba soldiers came in, Hamas soldiers rushed in, and by 8:30, Hamas had complete control over this military base. So this is a very important investigation to learn from. And the last in this newspaper, something good to end with, Bli Abba, Im Harbe Ga'ava, without a dad, but with a lot of pride. And I'm summarizing. Shlomi Chazut, a combat reservist fighting in Gaza, was released for a few days, and he managed to go with his wife to an ultrasound checkup, and they realized that Yaheli, their daughter, will have a new brother. 5 months ago, though, Shlomi fell in Gaza, and yesterday was the Brit ceremony, the ceremony of the Brit for Ari. Ari is the baby boy. So Ka'et, now the mom promises that our children will know that their father was a hero. And here we see him, Shlomi, and Malki, Haherayon haya behafta'a. She's saying that the pregnancy was a surprise. And here Malki, the mom, with Yaheli, the sister, and Ari Katan. And we're reading here, it's mixed emotions. Many families are like this. Many families in Israel are like this. That's it for today. Thank you for praying for the hostages, and continue to pray for protection over Israel as all these murderers are released, and some of them are really just in the east of Jerusalem, very, very close. We're looking forward to the release that's going to happen tomorrow, the next release of the 3 Israeli men. This is Rotem Magan for All Israel News.